Thank you. Thank you. You're far too kind. Here we go. Welcome back to Investing with Confidence, sponsored by Online Trading Academy, talking about the do's and the don'ts of the financial markets, how to make regular people or help other people make smarter investing decisions and be more comfortable getting started in the financial markets, whether it's stock market, that's great, options market, futures, Forex, cryptocurrency, whatever that strategy that you want to get into, short-term income strategies, or long-term wealth strategies. Online Trading Academy has classes to get you started. These are actually free. If you miss tickets to this investing class, text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets and a quick start kit that will help you get started right away. Don't forget to check out the podcast. You might see an outtake or two on the YouTube, I should say, but also check out the podcast, Investing with Confidence. And now, as we talked about in that last segment, we were talking about the different income strategies with the markets. A lot of people that want to build wealth, it takes sometimes more than one stream of income, and you need a different strategy for that. That's how you really build wealth. Right. If you look at the billionaires in the world and the multimillionaires in the world, they don't just have one job; they have multiple sources of cash, and
that's not multiple jobs.
Exactly, and that's having just different strategies. Right. But you have to learn how those work. Different opportunities for every person, even on top of your job. The markets might be that spot, and that's kind of why we see a lot of people come to these investing classes that have been listening to the show. I mean, we have the show played all across the country. We have these classes near you. So yeah, text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets. And we mentioned in the last segment as well, Al, is we got some big opportunities coming up moving forward with the markets, especially for potential wealth building. Now, we talked about some different articles that we've seen over the past few weeks here, and it's crazy that I don't want to put brokers or advisors down, but maybe I am. Who knows? It's the industry. It's really setting people up, in my opinion, almost to fail.
Yep.
They're teaching people how to save, which is great, but they're not putting them in investments that do the best for them. So what they tell you and condition you to do is to don't look at your statement. You're in it for the, okay, everybody, finish my statement, long haul. Markets always come back. You have to ride through the fluctuations. It's things to make everybody feel great, to just keep their money invested with them because they get paid on assets under management. So let's kind of shed some light on that, Al. What are some different opportunities that people have access to? Because you're not required to have them.
No. Well, let's talk about what most people do, because the go-to for most people that they are going to rely on in retirement is a 401k.
Mm-hmm.
They were never intended to be the go-to for retirement,
No.
But a lot of companies replaced pension plans with 401ks because it took the onus off of them to fund the pension plan and to make sure it produced the right returns to be able to cover the pension requirements that they had. So the 401ks have become the go-to. One of in the study you were referring to was done by Vanguard. They do an annual survey, and they have millions of clients who have retirement plans with them. What they found is that the median American 401k balance today is $35,000. And then 40% of those millions of people that they have less than $20,000 in a retirement account. And that's after we've gone through a decade where the S&P 500 was up over 400%. Yet people in their 401ks are suffering. They're not getting those kinds of returns. And according to this study, they were saying that after that number, that 400% return, yet after all of this, the typical balance is derisory. I hope I pronounced that wrong. What that means is it's ridiculously small or inadequate. It's just not enough to cover what people think they're going to have in retirement.
Yep.
And then the median worker between the ages of 55 and 64, according to Vanguard, has a 401k balance of around $90,000. To put that in context, that would buy a 65-year-old couple retiring a lifetime annuity of just $5,000 a year. For most people, that's 1 to 2 months worth of expenses, and that's on an annual basis. But then they go on to sarcastically say, lucky then that Social Security is in such good shape. Well, as we all know, it's not in such good shape, but it's just it's an indictment of our retirement savings system that there's so many people out there that are going to retire in such a poor position. Yep. How do you get around that? How do you do something different? Well, you can manage the money that's in your 401k. The strategy that our students use for their investment accounts, for that short-term income and their long-term wealth, using supply and demand, using that relationship, you can use that in your 401k if you have mutual funds or exchange-traded funds, whatever the investment is. It's the same strategy regardless of what you're investing. So you have the ability to maybe get better returns from your 401ks.
Potential.
That's what I said, maybe. That's potential.
It's crazy we got to say that stuff, isn't it?
I know it is. Well, and nothing is guaranteed. We know that. We talked about putting the odds in your favor in that first segment. How do you put the odds in your favor? You follow the people that put billions of dollars a year into putting the odds in their favor. Wall Street spends billions of dollars a year on research and data, sophisticated equipment. We don't have to do. Fortunately for us, they're telegraphing to us what they do on a price chart. We show you how to read that, how to find that on a price chart so you can trade with them, not against them.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool because, we see so many people come to these investing classes. You were mentioning the average or the median was $38,000 in a 401k. We do see a lot of people that have that. So that's why we talked about in that last segment, it's so important to have an income strategy now. So when you get to that point, hopefully you don't just have to draw that down. But also, we've been seeing a lot of people that come into these investing classes, Al, have hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, and they live a totally different lifestyle. And for them, it's still not enough.
Right.
So they're looking for income strategies as well. They're looking really to protect that in these down markets, because what your advisor is going to tell you now is don't look at it, because they don't want you to take the money out because they are no longer getting paid. They always have that hand in the cookie jar. If you want to learn more about that stuff, we really dive into how that actually works in these investing classes that you teach, Al. I teach these as well, and talk about 401ks, IRAs, different strategies. So text right now. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free tickets. What if you have an IRA, Al? What are some of the opportunities if somebody has an IRA that's listening?
Well, that's the great thing about an IRA is that you have many more opportunities. You're really restricted within a 401k or 403b. You're also restricted as to how you can control or manage risk in those accounts. In an IRA, whether it's a traditional or a Roth IRA, you can have assets that will provide protection for you. You can have protective strategies put in place. You can use options. You can use the futures market, the foreign exchange market. You can use those, and they will benefit you in an up market, a down market, and a sideways market. Options can be used in a sideways market. Options can be used for protection. So there are a number of things you can do, and you eliminate fees by doing that. If you set up a self-directed IRA, you eliminate the fees. Now, in this next segment, because I don't have time to go into it now, I want to talk about an article that I think is really important as far as the fees are concerned. But it's just right now, it's critical to, if you want to have a secure retirement, to do 3 things. One is to protect your assets, protect what you've worked hard for, generate income off of those assets instead of just pulling money out of your retirement money, and then grow the account. So you grow accounts, you generate income off of them, and you protect them. If you're not doing that, there's 2 other things you can rely on. Number 1, you can win the lottery. Number 2, you can get adopted by Warren Buffett. I would say your odds of either one of those 2 being beneficial to you is very small.
Yeah, not a very good strategy, we'll say.
But we talk about in these classes the ways that you can have the potential for a secure, comfortable retirement.
Yep, and that is the theme of the show here today, is being comfortable wherever you are, whether you're in your income building stages, or if you're in the wealth building stages, or that protection. And you got to be comfortable having a secure retirement, but you have to get started before that happens. You need to prepare ahead of time. One of the things my mom always used to say is, I'm preparing for dinner. I said, Mom, we're at the grocery store. I'm preparing for dinner. And finally, it made sense to me. Same thing in your retirement accounts. Prepare before it's dinner time. for 2 free tickets for an investing class at our local academies. We cover all these different techniques and concepts to get introduced to 401k strategies and IRA strategies. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text the word investing to the number 210-210. You're going to receive 2 tickets. Most people bring their spouse with. We've been seeing a lot of families that come to these classes locally. So if you're listening to the show, we have a class near you. Coming up next, as Al mentioned, he's got us something pretty good on fees. That's that 4-letter F word that we can say on the radio. We're going to talk about fees in retirement accounts, how detrimental they can be, but also different ways you might be able to minimize or have the opportunity to even lower them. We'll talk about that coming up in retirement accounts, but also income strategies for retirement as well. You got to cover everything here in the show, and we're going to do that. Make sure to listen to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and the YouTube show, Investing with Confidence, if you missed part of the show. This is Josh and Al. We will be right back.